This is it. We are live at last, I'd say. And it's been kind of an amazing start of a Hangout on Air. Since this is the first time ever that I felt that, hey, I'm not going to find the one I'd like to interview at all. And we had a hard time getting connected. And let's blame the multiple profiles on Google Plus on this. It sure is not easy sometimes. So I had to fire up another Hangout completely, and shoot, it'll work out one way or another. I'll post the link on the original page, so everyone should be able to enjoy the amazing Hangout anyway in the end. So, hi folks, everyone. I'm Nilo at the North Pole, well, almost northern Sweden. This is Be Smart on Air interview, which will be a little bit shorter than we intended to, just because I messed up in the beginning big time. But I'm really glad to have with me Fredrik Posse. Is that the way it sounds in English, Fredrik?
Well, at least in American.
All right, yeah. Anyway, you are one of the Soundtrap guys, and if I've got it right, you do some pretty cool stuff in the browser directly, meaning in your case, music production. Is that correct?
Yes, or you could say audio production.
Audio production, the widest possible.
Yeah, we aimed at creating something for the music industry, but now there are quite a few people, not the least teachers, using Soundtrap for language lessons and for podcasts.
Very cool. Let's get back to that in a while. But a bit about you to start with. If we go back in time, like you and your co-Soundtrap founders and colleagues, you are running this pretty neat startup operation, it seems. And how did that happen? If we go back in time, say 20 years, what were you doing then?
20 years. Well, if we go back 18 years.
18 years.
Yeah. Well, to begin with, I always work with startups. I've been fond of the startup process. But some 17 or 18 years ago, I started a music production company as one startup. And I started that together with some music producers.
Are you a musician yourself?
I'm not a musician. I did play some piano when I was young, which a couple of years ago now. But I've been very interested in music and music production, but not on the technical side, just creating hits. But I joined forces with a few very talented music producers, and we started the company, and that company became successful quite quickly. So we had a #3 on Billboard after just 1 year.
Whoa.
And after that, we didn't need to make an effort to find new customers. So within a very short period of time, we had jobs for Sting, Jay-Z, Jennifer Lopez, Celine Dion, and a few others.
You were pretty young then.
I was very young. And then I left that company. But the thing that all people who are not studio technicians experience when they come into a studio is that they want to get out of that studio because it looks very complicated. It is very complicated. And of course, all studio technicians, they want to show off with their technology and all these complex machines that they have in their studio. Usually they only use a few of those buttons that they choose. But the thing that I realized then, and that is sort of the beginning of Soundtrap, is that in many other areas like photography, you've had a lowering of the technical threshold, so to speak. 30 years ago, in order to handle an advanced camera, you need to be an expert. You know how to focus, how to set different things. Now a 5-year-old can take photos with a mobile his or her mobile and add a filter and then share it with the world. They might not be experts photographers, but it's good enough. And that thing has also happened when it comes to video editing and in many other areas. But it hasn't really happened when it comes to music production, music recording, audio recording, and editing and so on. So that's a little challenge that we have accepted. So we that's one of the reasons why we started Soundtrap.
For how long have you been doing this with Soundtrap? I mean, you have another company actually, like the mothership somehow. Soundtrap is a product, right?
Soundtrap is a product, yes. Well, when we started the company that's behind Soundtrap, we actually had another business idea that was more sort of a guitar school.
Okay.
With the same ambition to make everything simpler, simplify the process of learning. But after about a year, we pivoted, and decided to make a recording studio instead.
Okay. But you still have, what is it called, playback in the background?
Playwork is the name of the company. Yeah.
Is there a bit of German
Kraftwerk
vibes to that somehow? Or?
Combination. It was my colleague who invented that name. So
okay.
I accepted that.
Yeah.
So that's the long story of how Soundtrap was started. And then we launched this, we had a beta that was launched a year ago, and we've been adding features, letting in a few users and testing and adding and improving and so on. Now we feel we have a fairly good product.
Yeah. By the way, isn't it pretty tough, this startup scene, and like cutting loose and betting all you've got? I guess that's pretty much many people do in the startup world, that they take everything they got, like both money-wise and time and the works.
Yeah, but I'm doing that all my life. So
okay.
Yeah, just when I started that music production company years ago, I risked everything that I owned, and it was very close that I almost lost everything I owned.
All right. It's a tough world.
A tough world, yeah. But then finally it became very successful.
I guess so. So you folks demoed your Soundtrap in the Google I/O last year?
Yes, we use Google technology, HTML5, Web Audio and WebRTC, etc. And Google discovered what we were doing, and so they invited us to make a showcase at Google I/O in San Francisco last summer.
Quite an honor.
Very much so. I guess it's quite rare that they invite other companies to make presentations on stage there.
I would say so. You told me earlier a little bit about the demonstration there. Would you recap that, please?
The demonstration at Google I/O?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's online somewhere, so anyone can.
All right. Okay. Tell me how you did
it. It's rather techy though, about signal processing and things like that.
You don't need to go all the way deep down in the tech weeds. Take everything else.
I don't know those aspects anyhow. Well, the thing we did was it took about 40-45 minutes, and we created a song in front of the audience. So we showed how Soundtrap can be used using different devices, recording people in remote places. So we had a pair. My colleague was on stage playing the guitar, and Björn was a few blocks away in San Francisco, adding some keyboards. And then the final track was a vocal track where the audience was asked to sing. And all this was recorded and mixed together, and then the final result was shown to the audience.
Live demo in front of the audience, it never works.
No, we just see how difficult it was today for us to get this thing started, but everything actually worked out.
Amazing.
But there were quite a few little stages there with different devices. We used a Nexus 5 to record the audio with the audience, and so we had different devices. We had a Mac computer and different computers and so on, but everything worked out.
So you had lots of time there as well, huh?
Lots of time on stage, you mean?
Yeah.
40, 45 minutes. So.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, and I think I haven't looked at it lately, but I think some 14, 15,000 people have seen that video now.
Okay. So what was the reaction then?
It was very good, and the audience sang quite well, so it's difficult to have that recorded by that Nexus phone, but it worked quite well, and they were quite happy to participate. And that's the one of the main aspects with Soundtrap is collaboration.
Yeah, right.
On most of our competitors, they don't offer that chance to collaborate in that way. There's a video. Well, as you've seen, there's a video chat. And of course, the point is that you can create music like you use Google Docs.
Yeah, right.
The recorded track is in the cloud. So it makes it much easier for people to collaborate. You don't need to ship heavy files back and forth by.
So it's more or less real-time collaborative music audio production there.
Yes, and of course, when you have the video chat on, you can listen to what that other person in Japan or New York is recording. Say, well, what you're playing now is fine. Please press the record button, and the recording is made. And then when that person clicks save, the recording, the track is added to the rest of the track, so to speak, the rest of the recording in the cloud.
Is it like the one starting the collaboration or to put together whatever this audio production, is that person in charge all the way through somehow?
Yes.
In the collaboration as well.
Yes, that's the default setting, so to speak. So the person who starts the project and invites people is the person who owns the track.
Yeah, like the host somehow. Okay.
Otherwise, if you want, you could sort of just make a little recording and start a little production, and then let anyone do whatever they want with it. But normally, people want to be in charge. That's, of course, the best way is that the default setting is that the person who initiates the project is the owner of the project.
Yeah, sure. You must have been lucky, or I guess it can just be luck, with the with those programmer guys who are putting this together, like behind the scenes, who've been doing the coding.
Yeah, the coding all the coding has been done by my colleague Björn.
Okay, all right.
It's quite phenomenal.
Have you known each other since way back when, or?
We met some 4 years ago when Björn had this idea with a simplified garage or guitar school. So I realized he was a very smart guy, one of the best system developers in Sweden. So I thought that something can be made together with this guy.
Yeah, right. What is his background?
He actually studied to become a physician.
All right.
But he quit that and he started programming instead. He's
luckily, perhaps.
He plays the bass, and one of his more important jobs that he's had is that he was one of the first people to join a poker site called On Game.
All right.
So he developed that and
made a fortune on poker.
Well, he made some money.
Okay.
He was one of the first employees there, and he then turned out to be the CTO. And I think they went from 0 to 300 people, 600 people or something within a few years. And then it was sold to an Austrian company called bwin. And then he left after some time.
So are you folks full-time on this, working on this project now?
More than full-time.
More? Stupid question, actually. It's a startup, huh?
Just arranged with the financing, and the financing has been has taken quite some time.
Are you in the middle of that part now as well?
We closed it last Friday.
Congrats.
Thank you.
You seem happy.
Yes, after 6 months of negotiations.
Any hot news here you can reveal to the world?
I can't reveal more than that.
Huh?
I can't reveal anything more than that.
Okay, all right. But just you have already revealed you're happy, so it seems you're in good shape.
Now we can accelerate the whole business.
Okay. So see you in San Francisco or what?
Yes, I think we will be there during the spring.
Did you read the by the way the big article in the I guess might say one of the leading Swedish newspapers, was it on Sunday, about the gold rush for the Swedish IT startups in California?
Yeah, and that's one thing, and of course that's very inspiring, and I'm very glad that that's happening. But you could say that it's really a startup hub in Stockholm, and also in I think in other cities in Sweden. So it's a lot happening here now when it comes to startups. So there are startups that get financing from within Sweden, from the US, from Israel, from Germany, England. The venture capitalists of Europe come to Sweden regularly to look for projects and to invest in them. And that's
reading that art. Yeah,
the several companies that have received more than $1 million.
Reading that article, I got this impression in a way that Stockholm is coming really, really strong, but in the end, if you want to be in the game, you got to be there, over there where it happens. Yeah,
I think so. At least some type of presence, but several of the Stockholm campus have moved to Silicon Valley already.
Yeah, right. So how do you feel about that, moving to the States?
Well, the important thing is to optimize the opportunities for the project. If we need to go to the US, we'll do that.
Right. So interesting.
But now it's quite simple compared to earlier days. It's quite simple to be a global company. You can run it from more or less anywhere.
Well, yeah, quite simple technology-wise, I suppose. But the rest of it is
yeah. Of course, you need to find the staff, and I guess that's one of the major problems is to find developers, for example.
Yep. Right.
And occasionally money.
Yep. Right. That was one thing that I remember. One of those companies interviewed in the or representatives for those companies interviewed in the article said something like the money needed to hire developers in the US is huge.
Yeah.
So their take was more or less that, just what you said, that it definitely makes sense being there, but you don't need to have your developers there necessarily. So I guess that's one way of playing it.
Yeah, but of course we realize that the best developers, they need not just a good salary but also options.
Yeah.
So we will be setting up an option program. That we hope we will get soon.
Listening to you now, it seems that there will be some interesting news pretty soon in the press about Soundtrap. Is that correct?
Yes, maybe not the financing, but we will have a very interesting project that will be launched within a couple of weeks. Because now I've told you about how Soundtrap can be used for creating a track, and you collaborate. But there is one specific type of collaboration that we will try to explore now, which also simplifies for many people to join in. Because of course, if you want to create a track all by yourself, you have to have the idea and have to think of all the different instruments that have to be added and so on. But making a remix, if you have a sort of more or less a ready track and for remixing for the public, then of course many more people can join in. And since Soundtrap has quite a low technological threshold, we believe that tens of thousands of people can join on this remix project that we will launch in a few weeks. And it will be a very famous artist who will let one of their old hits be remixed
Very cool.
Yeah.
So that will be launched like worldwide remix project through Soundtrap?
Yes.
Neat.
Yeah.
Is it going to be some kind of a competition? Sorry?
I beg pardon?
Is it going to be kind of a competition or?
Yes, it's a competition.
All right.
So and there will be an amount of money for the winner. So and also the owner of the track will offer some royalty also, I think.
Whoa.
We're yet to decide. So we hope that we will attract both amateurs and as well as professional music producers. So stay tuned.
Yeah, definitely. You have. It seems you have managed to target quite a wide range of music lovers and audio makers.
Yes, it's like that to us too. So we had quite a wide ambition to attract people, both with some studio technology skill, but also amateurs. And people around us have asked, well, you have to be more focused more on one type of audience, but we haven't done that. So we still have that ambition to maybe not compete with the most high-tech, mostly the most complicated technological things like Logic and things like that.
No.
But it shouldn't be a toy. Soundtrap is not a toy. You should be able to make very high-quality recordings.
I have very, very briefly fooled around with Soundtrap, but it seemed amazingly snappy to me. That's pretty neat. Trying it out. That I wasn't, waiting and waiting. Everything was moving real smooth and
yeah. We put a lot of efforts into making it intuitive, and of course there's a lot more we can do. But I think we reached fairly far on that path.
And of course, there must be, at least potentially, many users out there in education.
Yes, and we didn't really think of that market from the beginning, but now there are at least one class joining up every day. So there are many schools in the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and so on.
What are those options? There is a free version available, but can you do anything with that or do you have to use the pricier options for getting something done in schools?
Well, I think it seems like our freemium version works quite well to begin with, at least for many teachers, and we want to be quite generous. And the premium version allows you to of loops. But quite soon the students ask for more space. They want more storage. And then we have a special price for schools. So the price for normal users are not used for schools, because the schools usually don't have a very big budget.
Right. Agreed to that.
Yeah.
For sure.
But we have one thing we offer, which I've already offered to you, is that music teachers get Soundtrap Premium for free, and we offer that to all teachers in public schools.
Yeah. And how has the response from the school's education been to you guys?
The response from the teachers?
Yeah.
It's very good. We have some very, very active and creative teachers, not in the US. So now there's a rap battle going on in an English class. It's not a music class, it's an English class in Indiana. And there is one school in I think in Oklahoma that is using Soundtrap for podcasts for theater lessons.
What do you say, podcast?
For theater, drama lessons.
Huh. Cool.
And so it's not just music. And music could of course be anything from singing in a choir to playing instruments, or actually songwriting or music production lessons.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I spoke with one EdTech expert in the US the other day, and he said, well, if you're thinking just of music teachers, you're just thinking of a small fraction of the potential market. He thought that we were only thinking of, there could be 80 times as large market than we think. And okay, fine, that's fine with us. And of course, if you have a simple tool, an easy to use tool, and some creativity, you will discover new things to do that you didn't think of before because the technology wasn't available to you.
Yeah, sure. Very cool. I had a couple of questions from a colleague, friend of mine in southern Sweden. He's also a school leader, by the way. And let's take some of that stuff. I take a look at the original event, where I will, by the way, post a link to this Hangout, or the video resulting from this Hangout. So due to our trouble finding each other in the beginning, so no one could possibly, I'd guess, or extremely few, follow this thing live, but I have the link available on the original page. But Anders had some comments through the questions and answers app. Well, first, what is Soundtrap today and tomorrow? I guess we've been into that a little bit already, actually.
Yeah. I could add there, though, that of course we aim at being a global company with millions of users already this year. I think we will make it.
I wouldn't be surprised either. And then he writes about, actually, you guys are welcome to his home turf, that is Orust on the west coast.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
What does it say here? Friday. They will have like 200 teachers attending to a conference there, or some kind of professional development, since they are switching over to Chromebooks.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
And I guess Chromebooks are really interesting to you guys as well.
Definitely. I would say that most of the students using Soundtrap today, they have Chromebooks.
It's amazing the way Chromebooks have exploded within education.
Yeah, especially in the US, but it seems like it's spreading to Europe also.
It's got to spread, but of course it's so tightly connected to Google Apps for Education. Yes. And all this trouble that's been and still is going on in Europe and in, I guess, several other countries as well, about the privacy issues and whatnot.
Yeah.
Been such a mess. Yeah. So I guess that has been kind of.
It's of course much more convenient with a Chromebook. I just read a couple of weeks ago that the largest school district in the US, which is New York, they've just decided to buy Chromebooks to all their 1,800 schools.
Whoa.
With 1 million students. We want to provide the recording studio to them all.
Well, they definitely need a good recording studio, and it's better be in the cloud.
Yes.
Something else from Anders. Let's see here. Any obvious disadvantages when using Soundbook on a Chromebook? And then I wonder, actually, compare to what? But I guess he means like traditional laptops, whatever. I guess there shouldn't be any, huh?
No, I think it works out quite well. There are a few little things that don't work on Soundtrap, but or on the Chromebooks that we can't really do anything with yet. It depends on development of the different browsers and so on. But It works quite well, and the teachers are happy with Soundtrap. The problem that the teachers have is usually the internet connection.
Right.
And we can't do anything about that.
No. Does it take like huge amounts of bandwidth to run Soundtrap?
No, it doesn't. Not for the normal usage, but of course the mixing. If you created a track with or a recording with 12 tracks and added a lot of effects on it, it takes some time to upload it.
Yeah. So the more bandwidth you can throw at it, the better, actually.
Yes. Yes.
If you are doing advanced stuff.
Yeah.
There's no smart way of caching something so that I don't know nothing about this stuff, but like some operations could be done like locally and uploaded when there's time for that or bandwidth for that or whatever. I don't know if that's perhaps a stupid thought,
but of course if you have something in your computer and you have to transfer it to the cloud, it takes capacity. And of course, if you heavy file, it will take some time.
Yeah, and especially since you are into this collaborative way of working, so it's got to be in sync all the time, huh?
Yes.
Yep.
But then, of course, there will be an offline version also.
All right. So is that way off somewhere in the future?
This year.
Huh. Interesting. And I guess it should be tied to the online service as well somehow.
Yes, and the important thing is I think that the users can choose.
All right.
If you want to have it, you should be able to have it.
Yeah, but I mean using the talking about the offline version, you mean it's something you install in your traditional laptop?
Yeah.
So can you? I guess you can collaborate using that version as well.
Yes, and of course today you can, of course, also save your track locally. You can save it to the computer today.
Yeah, right.
That's no problem. But if you collaborate, have it in the cloud, you need to transport it out there in one way or another.
Okay, but I think that'll be really, really great to have the possibility to install the works locally as well. For those that don't have all that bandwidth available anytime.
Yeah.
About the competition, what is there? I really don't know. I used to check audio, this audio sequencer kind of packages, both online versions and the the programs you install locally earlier. But I guess I haven't had much time for that in later years. But what competition is there?
Well, of course, there are quite a few companies who offer different types of recording devices and collaboration devices and so on. Many of them are quite techy. You have a problem to get out of that space.
Again, those thresholds.
Yes, but we feel that we are so far the only company that offers this total variety of services with everything from recording with collaboration to a community and we will add more features shortly. So we think that we have a setup of services that no one else offers at this stage.
Okay. Are you like officially working together with Google as well?
Well, we're not making a secret of being on stage at Google I/O. Not really a secret. But we have no formal agreement, but we stay in close touch with them. So
you are in speaking terms.
Definitely.
It doesn't hurt, I'd say.
No.
Very cool. In my school, we don't use Chromebooks for a bunch of reasons that still make me mad every time I think of that. But we have Google Apps for Education, which I started, like, we've been running it, let's see, like a year, a bit more than a year now. And it is really, really great. And using Soundtrap in this environment, it would be the logical thing to do, definitely.
Sounds nice.
Yeah. So I'll be talking to our to my colleague, the music pro here as well about this, and then we can see. Of course, it's like you said, schools are not often very rich.
Yeah.
So lack of resources, financial resources, is kind of a big pain.
But as I said, we will offer a very discounted rate for.
Yeah. Well, I like that for sure.
Discounted rate.
I like that for sure.
And then also, I'd be happy to put you in touch with some of the Google schools in the US, so you can listen to their experiences.
That would be absolutely tons of fun. I just love to get in touch with other schools and US schools, especially since they tend to be in the forefront when it comes to using Google Apps for education in general. And it seems to me somehow that Soundtrap is like almost a part of Google Apps for education. You know, might be something like that in the future.
Like that. Yes. And I say I could put you in touch with the school for two reasons. The one reason is that you as a teacher could learn from other teachers how they have done. But the other aspect is that your students can collaborate with students.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We have one school that joined a couple of weeks ago, and they are 740 students that have joined Soundtrap now. And they are making music every day. It's fantastic. And they make music in the night, and they collaborate. So I think it's fantastic.
It sure is.
Yeah.
Great.
It's become sort of a community for musicians and students.
Yeah. Sounds really neat to me, for sure. It's been lots of fun talking with you, Fredrik, about this. I think what you're doing now, it's like one more step in this direction, you know, like doing more and more directly in the browser, things that you just would not believe are possible. And of course, everything gets so much easier working with the students. When you can stick to that, everything gets so much easier.
It's easier for students to collaborate with the students, and also for the teacher to hand out assignments, to check the assignments, and so on. You don't have to shift the files back and forth. You just enter Soundtrap and you just check what they've done.
Yeah,
it's all in one place.
Yeah, it's just incredible. I mean, it doesn't matter actually if it's whatever. I mean, it's audio production or it can be whatever digital material you're using with this collaborative core in what you're doing. That's really the way to go in the way I see it. There's no turning back somehow.
No, definitely not.
And all this trouble that's still slowing things down, it just got to be solved, because otherwise we'll be, you know, left behind.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And of course, also since we have a video chat included in Soundtrap, it's very easy for the teachers to coach their students even when they're not.
Yeah. Very cool. I guess I've got to quit soon and try to get rid of my cold. I told you earlier that this weekend I mostly slept like 24 hours at least, and I'm still a bit wobbly. I wasn't sure if I could make it today at all to work. But so I do this stuff always at work, all the hangouts. I can't do it at home. Do too many distractions at home, you know.
Well, I hope you'll cure that. And just before we hang up here, I just want to add that at this stage we are quite happy to offer very special deals to schools, even for students. Teachers are, as I said already, they get premium for free. But if there's a school who want all their students to test Soundtrap Premium, we'd be happy to give a very, very special offer to them.
Excellent. I think it sounds pretty darn interesting.
And then they can all join in with this remix competition as well.
Yep. And I suppose you'll be posting all the details soon about the competition then.
Yes, you'll see it online, probably in the papers as well.
Very cool. Before we kill the hangout here, so perhaps you can stay with me just a minute or two after we have gone off air, after we have officially finished the hangout. But thanks a lot, Fredrik.
Thank you.
And I'm really glad that we managed to get this thing rolling in spite of all the darn trouble in the beginning. And I know now why we had all this trouble. You know, I still haven't learned my lesson, it seems. I know that one of the things you gotta fix when you're going to run a hangout on air is that both the host and the guest profiles need to be like following each other. And I should have made that clear from the beginning. I think that was the trouble there. I think that we were not, BSmart on air and you were following each other from the beginning.
You learn all your life, don't you?
It's the one big learning experience. Yes. You gotta fail, huh?
Yeah.
You can't learn otherwise. Thanks a lot, Fredrik.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. See you on air.
Yes, thank you. Take care.